The conference room smelled faintly of burnt coffee and cheap carpet cleaner. HR sat on one side of the table, posture stiff, papers neatly stacked. My wife sat across from me, her smug smile perfectly plastered. "Liam," she began, voice dripping with false sympathy, "after 15 years, we decided to restructure your position. My boyfriend will take over from here." I cast a brief glance at the man seated beside her, the new replacement, smirking like he already owned the place. "Please clean out your desk by Friday," she added, almost gleeful. The HR rep cleared his throat nervously, fully aware of the tension in the room. I smiled politely, not forced, but calm, steady, almost amused. "Completely understand," I said. They thought they'd cornered me, but they had no idea the trap they'd just set. Monday, I thought, will be fun. Chapter 2, The Forgotten Clause. By Friday, I was walking out of HR carrying a box of belongings. To everyone else, I looked defeated, head down, quiet, resigned. But inside, I was grinning. I knew something they didn't. The company bylaws. 15 years earlier, when the company was still small, I hadn't just been an employee. I had been one of its original contributors. That came with founder shares, something my wife and her boyfriend had completely overlooked. The contract was ironclad. My shares couldn't be revoked without a buyout, and any major restructuring required unanimous approval from all founding members. In short, they hadn't just tried to fire me. They'd violated corporate law. That weekend, I spent hours in my lawyer's office, coffee in hand, reviewing documents. They walked right into this. My lawyer said, shaking his head, "On Monday, you don't return as an employee. You come back as their boss." I didn't call my wife. I didn't warn her. I let her spend the weekend celebrating her clever coup with her boyfriend, while HR likely thought they'd handled everything cleanly. By Monday morning, the paperwork was ready. Injunctions against the restructuring, board meeting notices, motions for breach of fiduciary duty. I returned not with a cardboard box, but with a folder under my arm, the kind that changes lives. And the fun was about to start. Chapter 3, The Boardroom Showdown. The boardroom smelled of expensive cologne and rich coffee, the kind of place where decisions worth millions are made. My wife and her boyfriend sat side by side, smug and relaxed, thinking this was a formality to confirm my exit. HR hovered nervously, clutching folders. I entered quietly, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with the calm authority of a man holding all the cards. "Oh, Liam," here to say goodbyes, my wife said, voice dripping with arrogance. "Don't worry, we'll make your transition smooth." Her boyfriend chuckled. "Relax, man. Corporate life isn't for everyone." The board shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension. I placed a thick folder on the table, sliding copies to each executive. "Actually," I said, voice calm, "I'm here to discuss breach of fiduciary duty and illegal restructuring." My wife's smile faltered. Her boyfriend's frown deepened. I turned to the board. "As you can see in Section 12 of the company bylaws, no restructuring of an executive role may proceed without approval from all founding shareholders. Last Friday, an attempt was made to remove me without consent, a direct violation of those bylaws." The CFO flipped through the pages, eyes widening. HR looked like they wanted to melt into the wall, leaning forward, voice steady. "As a result, I have filed for an injunction, effective immediately. The restructuring is void, and all decisions made since are suspended. Furthermore, I am calling for a vote to remove individuals who acted in bad faith, including those who conspired to replace me." Gasps filled the room. My wife went pale. Her boyfriend's smirk collapsed into panic. The chair of the board cleared his throat. "Mr. Collins is correct. This was unlawful. Effective immediately, the so-called restructuring is reversed. Liam remains in full authority. As for the two of you, you've embarrassed this company. You will be hearing from our legal department." Some executives shook my hand. Others shot disgusted glances at my wife. Cameras from corporate communications, present to record the transition, captured it all. In an instant, the predators had become prey. Chapter 4, Stripping Them Bare. The silence lingered in the boardroom even after the decision. My wife and her boyfriend sat frozen, knuckles white, as the board shuffled out, some glaring, some whispering in disbelief. But this was just the beginning. Using my position in founder rights, I ordered a full audit of expenses over the last year. Forensic accountants didn't need long. My wife and her boyfriend had siphoned company funds for lavish trips, five-star hotels, and extravagant dinners. The numbers didn't just suggest misconduct. They screamed embezzlement. I froze their corporate cards, revoked access to accounts, and placed them under internal investigation. Overnight, their financial lifelines vanished. It wasn't only about money. The company's communications team had recorded the boardroom showdown. Instead of a PR announcement, the footage of my wife smugly declaring her boyfriend would replace me and the board reversing it was leaked. By Tuesday, it was everywhere. CEO's wife and lover attempt hostile takeover failed spectacularly. Her phone, once buzzing with invitations and adoration, was now silent. Friends vanished. Reputations turned to ash. That night, she tried to corner me at home. Liam, you don't understand. It was just business. We can fix this. I looked at her, the woman who tried to erase me in front of everyone. Calmly, almost kindly, I said, "You fired me, remember? You told me to clear out by Friday. Now it's your turn. Get out of my house." She froze. Tears welled. But I didn't budge. For the first time, she understood. Her power was gone. Her lover couldn't protect her. I wasn't the man she thought she could control. Epilogue. 6 months later. Her fall was complete. Once the queen of boardroom events and charity galas, my wife was now a ghost. Her name whispered with disdain in corporate circles. Her lover didn't last either, turning on her under legal pressure to save himself. She spent her days in a rented apartment, drowning in legal fees, with no allies, no access to corporate accounts, and no one to pick up her calls. Meanwhile, I thrived. With them out of the picture, I led the company to its strongest year yet, record-breaking quarters, secured legacy and recognition as a true visionary. Shareholders praised my leadership. Employees respected me. Industry magazines ran headlines. The CEO who survived a coup and came back stronger. At home, life was quiet but rich. My children stood firmly by me, proud of the man who had faced humiliation, endured it, and transformed it into triumph. The last time I saw her, she stood outside the courthouse, begging a reporter not to take her picture. Our eyes met. For a second, I saw her realize the truth. She had fired me from her life, but in the end, she was the one erased. I stepped into my car and didn't look back. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't shouting, "I won." It's living so well that those who try to destroy, you can't even imagine your world.